Aloha and shalom. This video is about the Kabbalah of Chanukah, and Hanukkah is coming up in a short amount of days here, so it's actually coming up significantly sooner than Christmas this year. Sometimes they align, sometimes they don't. And this year Hanukkah will be over before Christmas begins. As you know, Hanukkah is 8 nights long. I'm not here to tell you the story of Judah Maccabee. And I'm not here to tell you the story of the miracle of the oil lasting as long as it did. I'm here to share a quick message about Hanukkah from a more Kabbalistic perspective, from sort of a metaphysical perspective. So Hanukkah is the festival of lights, but really all of the Jewish rituals are centered around this multiplication of the light, including the weekly ritual of Shabbat. So every weekend, from Friday night sundown until Saturday night sundown, we have Shabbat. It's the Sabbath, and it's a time where we unite the many back into the one, where the two worlds, above and below, within and without, merge. And it is said that Shabbat is a time where we wear an extra robe or we wear an extra soul. It's a special time every single week. At the end of the year, or our Gregorian calendar at least, because it's already the new year has already begun on the Hebrew calendar, but in December, at the time of Hanukkah, you can see it as sort of a culmination of all of that light that we've been cultivating throughout every Shabbat. It's like this overflowing cup. It's like this cup or grail of light is spilling over, and that's Hanukkah. That's Hanukkah. Hanukkah is a time to access miracle consciousness. It's a time to remember that this is really accessible in any moment, but more so than ever, the time of Hanukkah is a time where we have the greatest potential to draw in that light. It's as though we should feel that light is pouring out from inside of us, pouring out of our hearts, that the light is filling us up and spilling over, but not just the individual us, the collective us. So I drew this little picture, and I don't know if you guys know this. Sorry, just eating popcorn. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's actually something called a menorah, and then there's the Hanukkah. A lot of people think that this is the menorah, with the 4 and the 4 and the 1 in the center making 9. This is actually a Hanukkah. This is actually a menorah with 3 on each side and not 4. And this menorah you'll see not only in the Jewish tradition, but you'll actually see in different cultures, in the art of different cultures, many cultures. And this one you'll see on the ark that contains the Torah. You'll see it in the art of the Shaviti, the visual meditation. You'll see it all over synagogues, temples. And this is more so, you can think of this everyday menorah sort of like a tree of light, of life. It's like a representation of Eitz Chaim, the tree of life. You could see it as like the chakras, right? The 7 chakras, the 7 days of the week, the 7 colors of the rainbow, right? And then here, we have an extra one on each side. This is the Hanukkah. It's the menorah that's used for Hanukkah. A lot of people don't know the difference. And I love this understanding because I think it really sums up what Hanukkah is. It's like this menorah is every day. This is the regular light. And then on Hanukkah, we have the extra 2. 1 on each side balance, right? Because we don't just want to add 1, we want to add the reflection of that 1 on the other side. So it's like an extra time of light. The light is spilling over on Hanukkah. And my favorite focus for Hanukkah is this idea of miracle consciousness, where we know that this light is accessible to us at all times. And I love the way that Michael Berg put it, Rabbi Michael Berg. He said that Hanukkah is a time where the light is spilling over so much, and we know that there are going to be ups and downs ahead. This is what life is. It's a roller coaster. So there are going to be downs after Hanukkah. There are going to be times where we feel down, where we feel overcome by the darkness. But Hanukkah is the time where we're going to prepare for that, where we bring extra awareness to what's to come, what's inevitable, what has always come, the ups and downs. But we're going to drink in, we're going to draw in, we're going to take in that extra light on Hanukkah, knowing that the times where we're going to need it, the times ahead of us that are going to be dark and cold and trying and painful, we're going to have all the extra light that we need to get through all of it, because we're taking it in now. We're taking in the excess light. We're reserving it. We're storing it. And this does something to your psyche. This does something to your mind, your way of thinking. You designate Hanukkah as this special time where you say, I'm going to take in extra light. I'm going to be grateful for all this light that's spilling over, and I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to hold it inside of me. And really, it's always there. But this is giving you an opportunity. This ritual of Hanukkah is giving you an opportunity to bring awareness to that, which is really the key, right? And so we say, I have all this extra light, and I know that the days ahead of me are going to bring hard times, but I'm going to walk with no doubt consciousness. I'm going to walk with full faith, because I know that I'm taking in that extra light right now to be able to face whatever is to come. I will always be prepared for whatever is to come, and ultimately this is always the truth. This is like the truth of the Fool card in the Major Arcanum, or the Zero or the Circle card, the Fool. It's about this no doubt consciousness, knowing that of course we always have what we need within us to make it through any experience, right? You've heard this before. God doesn't give you more than you can handle. It's impossible. And so Hanukkah is really in alignment with that knowing. It's a holiday, a holy time designated to calling in our awareness, fortifying our awareness around this truth that we have so much light, infinite light. When we tap into source, we have an infinite amount of light to make it through all experiences that are ahead of us. So I'm going to keep the message short. I just wanted to say this right here sums up Hanukkah. The difference between the menorah and the Hanukkah. This is the everyday, and then on Hanukkah, it's the spilling over, it's the excess, it's the extra. So it's not to be compared to Christmas. It's not like Christmas. It has nothing to do with Christmas. It just happens to fall in the same month, usually, right? But Hanukkah is actually not necessarily in December. It's in the Hebrew month of Kislev. And so again, has nothing to do with Christmas. And if you've never heard the story before, go ahead and read the story of Judah Maccabee. Read the story of the miracle of the oil that lasted for the 8 nights in the Holy Temple. Go ahead. But my message here was to kind of ground our awareness in a way that's practical and a way that's helpful right here, right now in today's world. How can we celebrate Hanukkah in a way that makes sense, in a way that feels meaningful in today's world? And it's simply accessing miracle consciousness, which is really available to us anytime, but we're designating a special time to honoring that process. That's Hanukkah. It's the spilling over of light. It's the extra light. And creating a ritual around honoring that extra light and drawing it in, it changes you. When we do this ritual, it gives us a structure to be able to do something very real with this extra light that's really always there inside of you. And to do this every year at the same time, not based on the Gregorian calendar, but based on the lunisolar calendar, aligned with a very specific timeline, it's a sacred thing. And so many powerful beings have been doing this for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So you're tapping into that conscious collective, and you're tapping into that very specific timeline to create very real magic. Sure, you could sit there and say, well, we always have this extra light within us and it's always available to us. And you're right. However, without creating this ritual, this structure, we don't have any form to insert this awareness and to actually do something with it. So what? You can always know that you have this extra light available to you, but what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it? How are you going to create a ritual that allows your mind to expand and activate new neural pathways, to allow for those channels to open up, to allow the light to come in and actually do something, right? Without these holidays, without these rituals, we don't necessarily have that structure to allow that process to take place. That energy, all that light is so close then, but so far. It becomes like inaccessible because it's just there. We want to actually do something with it. And it's been a passion of mine to share the mystical or Kabbalistic meaning of these Jewish holidays with you all because A, so many of you have expressed interest in these holidays, and B, they're not just for Jewish people. They're for anyone. You want to be the chosen one? Then choose. There's only one here, so choose yourself. And begin a path of learning. Understand how anyone can perform these rituals. So again, you can argue that this light is available to us anytime, and why Hanukkah? Well, we have to create a specific ritual if we want to actually do something with that light. These rituals, these holy days, are so cool because what they do is they work with our consciousness. When you start to understand these holy days, these holidays, from a Kabbalistic perspective, you begin to understand the metaphysics behind it, you begin to understand the science of it, and the practicality of it, the application of it, the technology of it. And then you can actually really do something on these holidays every year. My grandfather, for example, has been doing this his whole life, yet he finds new meaning every year. He deepens the meaning every year. You don't just read the Torah one and done. There's always new meaning because we're always growing, we're always learning, and as we go through these new experiences in life, we have more experience to apply to that same foundational truth, which leads to ever new realizations and revelations. Therefore, every year on Hanukkah, we deepen our process of connecting to this infinite source of light, which ultimately produces miracles, right? So every year around Hanukkah, it's a time to really get in touch with our miracle consciousness, to deepen that, to become aware of the excess light that's truly always available to us, so that we can right here, right now say, I am taking in this light, so that I know as I move into both the light and the dark times of my future, I'm prepared with what I need to move through it. That's what Hanukkah's about. So I hope you enjoyed my little Hanukkah message. I didn't get to do one last year, so I'm really grateful to share this with you all. If you are not a part of my private group on Facebook called Shabbat Crew, and you liked this conversation, and you want to hear more about Hanukkah, and you want to hear more about the mystical explanations of the Jewish holidays, then go ahead and join my private group, Shabbat Crew. By the way, Shabbat Shalom. Tonight is Shabbat. The sun is going to go down in a few hours, and it'll be Shabbat. I have shared quite a few links about tonight's Torah portion. So if you want to, again, understand the mystical import of tonight's Torah story, go ahead and check out my private group, Shabbat Crew. And feel free to ask any questions, you guys, about Hanukkah or about mystic Judaism. I love to share, and I'm still learning, so whatever you want to share with me, I'm also all ears, open to learning always with you. Alrighty, Shabbat Shalom. Peace.